Cosmic horror. What is it? Obviously, a subgenre of horror. But more importantly, alright, what type of horror? Think about it. You have gore, you have body horror, but you have cosmic horror here instead. See this big giant being? What is it? I don't know, honestly. I just googled it and it was pretty awesome, so I picked it. But you see it just toiling and playing with planets like it's nobody's business. But to us, holy crap, that could be our home. That could be another species' home. We don't know. A subgenre of cosmic horror is cosmicism, which was coined by H.P. Lovecraft. It states that there is no recognizable divine presence, meaning that he wasn't an atheist, but instead he thinks that there's just no greater God out there. For example, he came out with this whole world, kind of like Gotham, where many authors just kept giving and giving different monsters and entities, which are called eldritches. And for example, the Promulons, like we saw in the philosophy of Rick and Morty, they just toil away with planets, right? So they're thinking on a whole other different level, unlike us humans, where we're just talking a whole little chunk of rock drifting away with no aim at all in the universe. But these beings, they just take it as a game, us people. And I don't know about you, but that's scary to realize your own limitations, that you have no power over these things. And another thing that gets into cosmicism is the whole concept of isolation, which is why I put here the cosmic voids. And I forget which one it is exactly, but I think it's this one over here, the Virgo supercluster. That's the one we're located in. And a lot of those voids, they're not even inhabited by galaxies or celestial bodies. But in my opinion, I feel like that's where maybe these beings reside.
So H.P. Lovecraft. Cosmic horror owes a lot of its contributions to H.P. Lovecraft. He was born August 20, 1890 in Rhode Island, Providence, Rhode Island. And some of his influencers was Edgar Allan Poe and Lord Dunsley. And some of his personal interests that affected a lot of his work was outer space, seafood, the past, and madness. So for outer space, it's vast and it's unknown. We haven't traveled much of it, and a lot of his work relies on the unknown since it's cosmic horror. For madness, his characters were always on the brink of madness, whether it's they just escaped from a mental institution or they stumbled upon some unforbidden knowledge and it just made them mad. And he himself has had personal issues with mental health issues. His dad was in and out of mental hospitals, his mom was unstable, and he himself had his issues. So, and then for seafood, he had a deep hatred for seafood. He had a 5-year-old palate for most of his adult life. And there was one occasion when him and his friend were going to get some food, and his friend wanted some steamed clams. And then he said, and I quote, "Well, you eat that damn thing, I'm gonna go across the street and get myself a sandwich, so please excuse me." So, just sea creatures in general, he hated taste, and that inspired a lot of his characters. For example, Cthulhu, which is the octopus god. It's just octopus head and the rest is human body. And for his past, he was influenced by Gothic tradition. Him and Edgar Allan Poe were influenced by that. So just the early horror stories like Frankenstein and whatnot influenced a lot of his work.
So, common theme within H.P. Lovecraft's writing would be eldritch entity, cults, secret society, hidden knowledge, isolation, and insanity. And eldritch entity, to go into it, it's more like things that we cannot see or understand, comprehend. They are usually horrible in appearance, really ugly. But what you can also notice that is all these are somehow, in all movies now, and everything that we see are entertainment, even our real lives, that these do apply, these themes. So for cults, there's, for example, a real life one would be Jonestown. That you can play off of as a real, where you can connect it to the real world. Secret society is just about a group of people who know more than the others. Example on that would be the lizard people, or how people, and then there's hidden knowledge. Now hidden knowledge is when information that is known, and that usually the keeper of that information knows that this knowledge is powerful. So you know the saying, knowledge is power. So when they usually know this knowledge, it drives them to insanity in a sense, and usually they are trying to chase down a path where it does that doesn't lead them to disaster. And then for isolation as in like when you're isolated from people, it drives you to madness, which also can lead to this. But a good example for how it connects to modern life is when you're in prison, and one of the things that they do to you is they isolate you, and that's known as like as a punishment. Yeah. So we, to this day, we use that as a punishment towards like prisoners, and that plays off of like our fears. All these things plays off of our fears that we have. And then insanity is when you start questioning or your perception, and you start questioning whether or not you are sane or what you're going through is real.
So, I'm going to be talking about cultural impact and how does it affect all of these things. This is just like the majority of what I know. So, for example, video games. Video games are very common when it comes to cosmic horror. You will see these all the time. Even this one is not even released yet, and it already has themes of cosmic horror. I put in a lot of different variety examples. You can see it's mostly just all horror games, and some of them are just fantasy. In movies and TV, it's very similar as well. You probably have seen a few of these. I'm sure a lot of you have seen things like The Thing, Prometheus, Stranger Things, Rick and Morty. And if you're really cool, you've probably seen In the Mouth of Madness. All of these movies play on the ideas of cosmic horror and what Lovecraft tries to push in his themes. Now, I'm not as versed when it comes to books and writings, but these are the ones that I am the most aware of. Stephen King was notorious for taking a lot of inspiration from Lovecraft, and he implemented a lot of his books. Right now, I just decided to pick the most popular one that you mostly likely know. Something like Roadside Picnic. Although not in particularly stated as directly inspired by something like H.P. Lovecraft or cosmic horror, the book has very strong similarities with what cosmic horror entails. Now, for the Lovecraft Circle. For those who don't know about the Lovecraft Circle is a bunch of different writers who essentially befriended H.P. Lovecraft, and they all share the same mythos. And maybe you've even seen some of these people. For example, Robert Bloch. All these people, of course, are quite old. He wrote hundreds of short stories, and a lot of these people you're going to be seeing, they're all pretty much publications from Weird Tales, which is a very popular publication, with these all people contributed towards. Same thing with like Clark. Clark Smith. Clark Smith was notorious for pretty much getting a Fringe-Go fan letter from H.P. Lovecraft from like the Ebony and the Crystal. This was a really interesting publication. I highly suggest you all read it. Now, this is one of my favorite ones. Robert E. Howard. Robert E. Howard he unfortunately died really young to, unfortunately, suicide. But he was the one that started all the sorcery and sword and sorcery genre. And you probably have seen Conan. If you didn't know about Conan the Barbarian, it actually kind of surprises people that both those universes are tied. Frank Long, again, a lot of his books, he started really writing more the cosmic horror stuff, from what I've noticed. After H.P. Lovecraft has died, he kind of just kept with the torch and kept writing afterward. He wrote, one of his most famous books is The Hounds of Endless, which is kind of like the Silmarillion for like Lord of the Rings. If you ever know what that book is, it's like an encyclopedia of all different like creatures and things. So Angus, he was the guy who essentially coined the whole term of Cthulhu mythos. He was pretty much a really quick friend with Lovecraft. They were really like together, like buddy when it came to writing a lot of content. And even then, he wrote some of his own tales, and a lot of them are just direct inspiration from Lovecraft.
Can you go back to that slide, please? So he's a lot like Merlin, that he was born in the future and died in the past? So.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
It's cosmic horror, it's mystical. So, all of those people and all these artists to this day are still taking inspirations from cosmic horror, and we're still making great content. And all of them share the same themes of like pessimism and nihilism and cosmicism.
And so one of the themes is cosmic pessimism, and it goes with cosmic horror because cosmic horror is all about the fear of the unknown. And pessimism, the definition is the belief that the world is as bad as it could be, but that evil will ultimately prevail over good. So like Eeyore, just like we're all doomed, everything is like pointless, there's like no bright side, that is pessimism. And on a cosmic scale, it sees the factor that we are so small in the grand scheme of all things. And that is partly touching on a little bit of nihilism here. And nihilism is the belief that life has no meaning, purpose, or value. And that Rick and Morty shows that, and that the theme that Rick is knowledgeable of the concept of like cosmic horror in the sense that we're so small and there's so many things that are unknown, and he recognizes the science behind all that and just kind of accepts it and goes on, kind of like goes with the flow. And so, whereas Morty, he's on the more of the cosmic pessimism, nihilism side where, and this quote encompasses it really well, nobody exists on purpose, nobody belongs anywhere, we're all going to die. And so, in general, just don't think about it. Any questions? Thank you.
Questions?
Yeah. Have any of you guys read any of those books that were mentioned? Like, I read The Call of Cthulhu and stuff from like a compilation of his works, and I loved it.
I read Roadside Chicken. That's one of my favorite books of all time. And again, I don't think it's particularly associated with like Lovecraft and his work, but the similarities are so common that you can almost consider it cosmic horror.
Yeah, to add a little bit to that, I'm starting to get into the Yellow King. It's not technically Lovecraft, but it's very heavily inspired by it too. Ezra.
So you guys mentioned like eldritch beings, right? Very briefly. Could you explain what eldritch beings are?
Yes. Well, eldritch beings is like things that, okay, an example is the bird box. If you really think about it, it's, you don't have the concept of what it was because it never showed you what that being was. So just the fact that you don't have the concept of what it is, your imagination already scares you because you can't put a picture to it. When you put pictures to things, it becomes less scary because you know what it is. For example, people still believe in ghosts. People believe in things that you can't see. And it is because of why? Because it plays off your fear of the unknown. Things you can't fully grasp or get the concept of. But when he does talk about eldritch, sometimes it's a being that's usually really hideous.
Like me. So, sometimes these beings are really old. They're considered the great old ones. We don't really know what they, most of the time, if we do know what they look like and we do see them, we do cause insanity and eventually madness.
Yeah, the whole point of it really is that you're not meant to know what these things are. Take, for example, an ant living in its ant colony, doing its little tasks. To it, that's the whole world. But when an anteater comes along and topples over their little ant colony, they're thinking, holy shit, everything's going to end. But, right, to put it into perspective of a smaller plane, that we are also cosmic horror beings to other smaller creatures. Any more questions? Connor?
One more. Are you aware of, and did you get a chance to look at all the actual religion that people created around the eldritch gods invented by Lovecraft?
You mean like in real life?
Yeah, because like the great old ones and all that stuff. Yeah.
I didn't really spend time to look into it, no. Again, I feel like because all of this is like fiction, like science fiction, I didn't see it was really important to bring up.
Yeah.